first thing that I want to do is I want to have a conversation about athletes and entertainers and money. Often at times, we see a lot of these people get these crazy contracts, right? And a lot of times you guys can't fathom what it's like to be able to get a 10 million, 20 million, 30 million, 40 million, 50 million, 60 million, 70 million, 80 million, 90 million, maybe even $100 million contract. Could you imagine what it's like to get a $100 million contract? Do you know what that game check would look like? Well, fortunately, we've had an NFL player that plays for the San Francisco 49ers go online and he showed his actual paycheck and he broke down what that looks like for the general public. And I thought that this would be a great way for us to start the show off today so that we can get more insight into how the other half live. You know, me and you, we all regular. You know what I'm saying? We trying to figure it out. We striking for the UAW. We trying to get our 32 to the 42, 42 to the 52 per hour. We trying to get our $170,000 per year. Most people that's, you know what I'm saying, making six figures statistically is living paycheck to paycheck still. And most people are like, I don't know how that's possible. Well, let's see how the other half lives. I want to show you what it's like through this NFL player. I think his name is, let me just double check. Arik Armstead. Arik Armstead. I believe he's the longest tenured player over at the San Francisco 49ers. And he decided to share what he makes. So before we really start to deep dive into the show, because he actually shows the game check, the paycheck from the game check. I'm going to be reading Super Chat shortly. Thank you, my friends. He actually shows his game check. And I think that this is important for us to have a conversation because even when you get money, it doesn't necessarily mean that you understand money. All right, so let's start it off with a positive note before we go over to Philadelphia, and let's go from there. Make sure that you hit a like for the algorithm. Make sure you subscribe to the Patreon, and make sure you share this with your family and friends. Let's start it off.
I want you guys to see how actual NFL game check works. Let's break it down. Quick disclaimer here. My salary is on Google, so you can look up how much I make. This is for motivational and educational purposes only. I'm not here to flex on anybody. I've been extremely blessed in my life, and I work hard, and I do make a substantial amount of money. But this isn't to flex on anybody. This is so people can understand and see how it works in the NFL. So
one thing I don't like is I hate music on these videos, especially these TikTok videos. Can't stand it. It really does take away from the quality of the video itself. But let's go ahead and get into it because he actually breaks down his paycheck. Let's get it.
Whenever I get my game check, the first number I look at is this number right here.
So let's look at this. Right? The first number he looks at is the amount that he takes home. The amount that he takes home. It looks like $198,210. So I believe they get paid per game, if I'm not mistaken. Almost all NFL players, if I'm not mistaken, gets a game day check. It's per game, right? So just imagine getting 16 checks. Your take-home pay is $200,000 per paycheck. Now remember, he's showing you his salary, and he's very well paid, and he's the longest tenured member over at the San Francisco 49ers, allegedly, right? But at the same time, you got to also understand that most players in any league, especially the NFL, do not have a long runway. They're not going to have a Shannon Sharp career. They're not going to have a Jerry Rice career. They're not going to have a Tom Brady career. That does not happen. Russell Wilson, none of that, okay? So remember, this is the game check. After taxes, he takes home $198,210.92. All right?
And it says amount. And I know that means that's what hit my account. When you want to make yourself a little sad, then you go back up to the top and look at what you're supposed to get at this number right here.
All right, so let's rewind that real quick. The amount that he made versus what he took home is two different things, right? So the amount that he grossed is $393,000, and the amount that he took home is $198,000. Now, a lot of people are going to say, man, I'd love to take home $200,000. I'd love to take home $200,000, right? But look at the taxes. $300 base. Okay, so let's round up. $400,000 game check, $200,000 you taking it home. That's 50% of what it is that you grossed. You only taking home 50%. That's crazy to me. I couldn't imagine that even a little bit. Look, when you start to get money, I'm going to tell y'all it's a little bit different because it's like y'all having y'all regular job. Remember when you first got your job? Remember when you first got your first job? Or when you first got that good job? Remember when you first started making six figures? Remember when you first got your bonus check? And you're like, man, you start planning for it and all of this. And then you look up and half of that mug is gone. Union dues, taxes, FICA, state, local, Social Security taxes, all of this stuff, right? He's literally got half of a check. Whatever it is that y'all think that these people make, cut it in half. That's what I'm telling you. If you see somebody and they get a $50 million check, well, $25 million is still good. When you start to get money, I'm just telling you, when you start to get money, you don't look at how much you're taking home. You look at how much you're giving away. That's the finesse. Remember, the government never had to lift a finger in order to get half of his paycheck. This is the greatest finesse in the world is taxes. And they say eat the rich. And this is why the top 1% pays 95% of the taxes. They pay 95% of everything that go into the coffer. As much as y'all think that people are getting tax breaks, they pay 95% of all of the money that goes into the federal government. It comes from the 1%, top 1%. It's a fact though. All right. So I'm gonna let him explain some more, and then I'm gonna break this down why it's important for us to have a conversation. Remember, he grossed 400. He took home 2. Let's get to it.
Right here. The earnings section breaks down what you made essentially. So I have a P5BW, which the code for that means paragraph 5, which means like your base salary, what you're supposed to make. Now, last year, the team converted my salary into a signing bonus for cap relief. So majority of the money I made was in the form of signing bonus.
So they front loaded his paycheck for signing bonus for cap reasons, right? We're not going to get into NFL, NBA cap reasons, contracts, and all of that, right? But let's remember, his signing bonus that he got this year, that was also taxed, meaning that the game day checks is much different than that one-time big payment signing bonus that he got. I'm going to read that super chat shortly. Shout out to you. Jim Rat says he has an $80 million contract. Nope, he really only got a $40 million contract. That's both of theirs. That's the government's and he is. Whatever it is that you're making as an athlete or an entertainer, you basically gonna cut it in half. They taking theirs off top. Off top, they taking theirs. Now, there's ways around this, and this is why a lot of these NBA players, these athletes, and these entertainers, they need to get in touch with Anton Daniels from AntonDaniels.com. Because your adjusted gross income, which is the amount that you wind up paying on taxes. Now, remember, I'm not a tax professional. I'm just a businessman, and I understand how to get to that bag. Remember, the amount that you pay in taxes is not based off of the amount that you gross on your paycheck. It's based off of the amount that is shown on your adjusted gross income, meaning you can have a business. You can have expenses related to those businesses. As long as you don't live based off of your paycheck and adjust your lifestyle to it, then you can start to make adjustments on what it is that you have to pay over into the federal and the state government. But we'll get there, right? Let's continue.
You can see right here with this pay code. That's what I got in the form of signing bonus, and this is what I got in the form of salary, which totals to here. Now you wonder, how do you get from there to there? And the first thing you got to do is look at the tax section. So the tax section breaks down all the taxes that were taken out of your game check before you ever receive it. Sometimes people pay taxes from the money they make, but they take our taxes out beforehand. Now, as you can see right here, you have this med, which is probably a medical tax, so Medicaid or Medi-Cal. You have the federal tax, which you can see is probably the most hefty.
Hold on, let me look at this federal tax. Yo, one paycheck, he paid $144,000 in federal taxes. Y'all know where that's going? Over into the migrant crisis in Chicago and New York. One paycheck, $144,000 in federal taxes. For the year, when you start to look at his signing bonus, and the season just started, looked like he paid $1.5 million already in federal taxes alone. Oh my God. Then the state taxes, $41,000 already out of one paycheck in state taxes. Oh my God. He's paid $194,000 out of one paycheck. Listen. I don't look at how much money that you make. I look at how much money you keep. It's a whole nother game. I don't look at how much money you make. I look at how much money you keep. He grossed $400. He took home $198. He grossed $400. He took home $198. The game is rigged for those that don't know how to play the game. We'll get there. Let's continue.
Is $144,000. You have your state tax, which is another $40,000, and then that finals up to the total of you pay in taxes, which is $194,000 out of my game check. And then right here, you can see year to date how much taxes I've paid. And then you go down to here, and this is called the payroll deductions section. So payroll deductions are where you pay in your 401k, you pay your union dues and NFLPA. If I got game tickets for my family, it'll come out of here. Then we can go to the wages amount. You can see the year.
That's pretty much it, right? So they got to have a 401k just like you. Remember Scottie Pippen's ex-wife, Larsa Pippen, who was talking to Michael Jordan's son, right? She got half of his 401k from the NBA. They still are subjected to the same requirements federally and state-wise that you are as far as how much they can put in a 401k, regardless of how short of a career that they have or how long of a career that they have, right? And my point is this, right? When you look at this game check and you look at this bonus and you look at all of this stuff, and shout out to him for showcasing exactly what it is that he's making. I've shown my paycheck. If you want to see what it is that I make per year, go on to Patreon, pull up my W-2s, pull up my paycheck, look at what it is that I got inside of my brokerage account. It's in multiple different videos. A lot of people call me a fool for going back into corporate America. And then when you see what my paycheck is, you're going to be like, I see why you went back there. But see, when I broke my stuff down on the Patreon, I also helped y'all to understand how it is that you can make an adjustment as far as how much money that you paying over to the federal government. Here's the difference. Let's say, for example, throughout the rest of this year, that he winds up making $2 million, $3 million. All right. If he make $3 million, he gonna give 1.5 over into the federal government. That hurts. If he makes $3 million, about 1.5 is going to go over to taxes. It's going to go over to the migrants. Biden and them going to be over there making infrastructure updates. Congress going to make sure that they get their paycheck. Police, fire, roads and assistance, infrastructure updates, Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, and they can't even come to a conclusion in Congress as of right now on how it is that they're going to keep the government open because they're running out of money and they can't come to a budget agreement. Shout out to Congress that can't do their job, but they're going to make sure that they take all of the money out of our paychecks. You know what I'm saying? But let's just say, for example, he makes $3 million for the year, right? Now, he really only taking home 1.5. Now, also remember that he's a long-tenured NFL member and he has a decent contract, but in reality, most NFL players have a short lifespan when it comes to the amount of time that they're on the field. So that means that before you even 30 years old, for most of them, before they even 25 years old, they don't even have any job or any way of income outside of what it is that they made during the time that they was in the NFL, which is one of the reasons why within 2, 3, 4 years, the average NFL player is broke within 2, 3, 4, 5 years because A, they got the money during the time when their brain wasn't even fully developed into being an adult. B, they don't have any intangible skills in order to market themselves or continue to get the bag after the NFL. And then C, they got front loaded. And when you see these dudes over in Miami and in LA and on all of these different cities, and they pulling up in the Range and they pulling up in the Benzo and they pulling up in the Cullinan, the Rolls Royce Cullinan and all of this other type of stuff, it's going to be short-lived. It's going to be short-lived. I will tell you this. For most of these NFL players, they won't even come close to what it is that we make, some of us content creators make. They won't even come close to what we make in our lifetime. Not even a little bit. Your average NBA player is watching this show right now trying to understand why Anton is so much richer than them, but they made so much more money than me on the front end of their contract. Thank God that I didn't get a contract because I would have been a fool just like them. Thank God. Not saying that he's a fool, but I'm using this as an example. Thank God I didn't make that type of money when I was 21, 22, 23, and 24 years old. Oh my God, I will be out here looking dusty. I can understand because I was BMFing, blowing money fast, running it up, thinking that it was going to come forever, not really realizing that you one step away from losing it all. And do you have the business acumen and the understanding in order to run it back up? And do you have any intangible skills that add value into people's lives long term? Right? It's real. They got these women that's taxing them for everything that they got. And as soon as they run out of money, these women is no longer going to be there to rock out with them. Why do you think that it is? Y'all thought that these women was with them because they had good personalities? No, they not. Shout out to the super chats. I'm going to be reading those shortly. Y'all thought these women was with them for their good personality? They not. By the time that they hit 30, 31, 32, 33 years old, 99% of them is dusty. Dusty, dusty, dusty. So what does that mean, right? Why is this important for us to have a conversation about on the Millionaire Morning Show? It's not just to have a conversation about taxes. It's to have a conversation about, are you taking advantage, no matter how big or small your shovel is, and no matter how wide of a window that you have, that then determines what success looks like, are you minimizing your expenses and then making decisions from a business perspective? Remember, doesn't matter how much money come out of your paycheck, you can get that back. The only thing that matters is the amount of money that you keep. If you're making $3 million per year, you need to figure out how to spend $2.99 million of that. Y'all not hearing me. Y'all not hearing me. Y'all thought that y'all could save y'all way to success. Most of these dudes is trying to figure out how it is that they cannot go broke by the time that they die. I'm telling you, I know them. I coach them. I see them. I help them to minimize their lifestyle, and it's so hard to get them out of this mindset, not understanding that they're not even going to have no money long term. I'm telling you, a lot of these dudes is tight. They spent it. They had them big old Michael Jordan suits. They was driving in cars with TVs in the back that nobody even care about anymore. They was running it up and tricking it off on hoes and getting a bunch of money and throwing it in the strip club, and they had no way to be able to replace that. And they trying to figure out how they not going to run out of money by the end of their lifetime. These dudes that had these 60, 70, 80, 90, $100 million contracts, they dusty. Not all of them, but I'm telling you, it's a lot of them that's dusty. Look, confidentiality is key. For all of you players, y'all need to email me at antondaniels413@gmail.com. For all of you entertainers that's running it up and you don't think that the money is going to run out, I'm telling you, it's going to be a tough life. Ain't nothing like working at Target with a Super Bowl ring on. Ain't nothing like Anton going on eBay and figuring out what the favorite year that he liked your specific team and him purchasing your eBay ring. Ain't nothing like it. First of all, you need to be keeping the majority of that money because it's your adjusted gross income. It's the amount of money that you wind up having to pay minus the business expenses, and your personal expenses is relate to your retirement and things like that in order to ensure that you continue to run it up for the rest of your life. Listen, you want to live the rest of your life and be rich, or you want to be rich for just a small moment? You want to YOLO, blow money fast? You're not Drake. You're not getting Drake money. You can't make that type of money for the rest of your life. You don't have the residual income. They're not going to pay you for your games for the rest of your life. You're going to be sitting there inside of the NFL arena doing a picture photo op for the team because they're trying to give you a job because they don't want you to look dusty and then embarrass the franchise as a result of you going broke. It's not a lot of money. I know it looked like it, but it's not a lot of money. That right there, that he's showing us, that $198,000 after taxes, right? For most of y'all might make 1, 2, 3, 4. You might even get a $15 million contract. It's not a lot of money for you to live the rest of your life on. It's not. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat.